I think there's a massive opportunity on Hyperliquid. And in this video, I want to show you what the platform is. Why am I so bullish on the platform itself? And also we're going to look into some altcoins specifically on Hyperliquid that you could potentially get some money into and probably make good gains if we get into a good bull market. So let's jump right into it. I'm quite excited about this video because honestly, I'll start with this, that I'm quite late to Hyperliquid. They already had the first airdrop and it was massive. It was probably one of crypto's biggest airdrops ever, especially in the last few years. People made crazy money by just being generic users. And the main reason for this is that they did it very well. First of all, the airdrop itself was huge, was like 30%. And the reason for this was that they don't have VC investments. And they decided to give a lot of the money and a lot of the airdrop to its users. However, there's a catch here in a good way, because they're planning also to have a second airdrop, which will be around 30 to 40% of the token. So that would be massive because this thing is valuated quite high right now. It's like over, I think, 20 billion already. So imagine another liquidity providing event like this for users. And I think it's not too late. I am too late, but I don't think it's I'm late from the beginning, but I don't think it's too late to make money even from the airdrop. So I'll go through some steps. But first of all, let me just give you a quick walkthrough through the platform. First of all, you have to go to hyperliquid.xyz. And it's very easy to use. It's very intuitive. It's like a Binance, really. And that's what makes it good, because I have used all kinds of platforms, like all kinds of DEXs and the premier DEXs, like, for example, GMX and all kinds of other DEXs. And I can tell you that for perps trading, this thing here is the closest you can get to centralized exchange. Also with the fee structure, the way the everything is executed, you don't need to confirm anything in your wallet. There are a lot of benefits. Let me just give you a quick walkthrough. So this is a dummy account that I have. But first of all, you can see here, welcome to Hyperliquid, deposit Arbitrum USDC. So the first thing you can do is to just click deposit here. And you will be prompted to have a connection, obviously, and then you can choose only for now Arbitrum, and you can use USDC or some other USD types. I would suggest doing this USDC first because the USDT will charge you some fees to exchange it to USDC. So everything is done in USDC. Refuel it here, and then you gotta switch to Arbitrum, whatever. This is as I said, a dummy account, but you can do this. It's very intuitive, and that's the only way you get engaged with the wallet within the platform. Obviously, when you log in and so on, you need to confirm, but basically your account will be linked to the address that you have. And then you can start trading either on perps or on spot. But before we get to this, let me just give you some cool features that they have. First of all, they have the votes. You can put some USDC here to work. Basically, it gives 14% APR right now. I don't think this will be included in the airdrop criteria in the future. At least I heard rumors that it won't be, but I'm still providing. I've locked some USDC in my account here. Also, you can see obviously your portfolio, and once you start trading, you will see here obviously your performance. What I will personally be aiming for on my account is at least a few million in volume, and you gotta be careful here. I'm gonna give you some of the cons in a bit, but I'm aiming for at least a few millions in perps volume, and also I'll be aiming to just generically use the spot trading as well. And obviously you can deposit and withdraw from here. And something very important, you can use a referral code here, so you can just generate yours. Once you do like a $10,000 in volume, which is not very difficult here, you can create your own code. And if you're planning to have several accounts, I would definitely suggest you generate your own referral code and refer yourself with the other accounts. I have a referral code. It's Zlat Crypto. I'm gonna leave the link down below if you decide to use it. The first here you can see it's $10,000, but the people that sign up are getting a discount on the fees around 4%, and then I'll be getting like 10% commission on the fees that you're earning. So just keep this in mind if you decide to use it. The next thing is staking. Hyperliquid is launching on L1. Still, it's not live, so don't fall for any scams. But you can basically buy some hype and stake it here. You don't really get any rewards pretty much. The APR is minuscule, but the goal of this is that I believe this will be a key thing for the potential airdrop in the future, and definitely this is one of the first things you need to do. And usually choose a validator. Here you can click on uptime, and you can choose the validators that have the highest uptime, so pretty much the main several. I've chosen this one, Hyper Collective. I'll tell you why in a bit, but basically I've stuck with them. You can use obviously different validators. So yeah, these are pretty much the main features. And when we go to the trading tab, as I said, executing is super easy. You can set stop losses pretty much like a Binance on chain, which is extremely cool, especially in some jurisdictions when it's not that easy to trade on centralized exchanges, or you don't have that much of a diversity. I think that's a great option, and it's not a small exchange. This thing is trading like 4 billion in volume per day, and you can see here if you click here on this tab and on all coins, you can see that most major pairs are here. So obviously BTC ETH, you can trade with quite a bit of leverage, and then obviously some other altcoins that are not specifically on Arbitrum or on Hyperliquid. Keep this in mind. You can trade here Aave, you can trade BNB, Solana, obviously some AI memes. So it's pretty cool. You can do quite a lot of things and quite a bit of trading here, and I think it's a very, very easy to use. For me personally, I'm just farming the airdrop, but actually I've just moved some of my trading into this platform just because I like it. So I'm just gonna use it naturally and not gonna overdo it. A word of caution, and one of the cons here, if you decide to do this just for the airdrop, is that obviously this is trading, and if you don't know what you're doing, quite easily you'll be losing a lot of money. So don't just ape into random shit without a plan. And if you do trade, like, you need to have a strategy and all those simple things. When it comes to trading, you need to have an edge. I've been talking about this on my channel for the longest time ever, and I'm doing content on it, so stay around if you want to learn how to do this if you're a beginner. But don't do it just for the airdrop. Just open and close positions all the time, because I think you'll get flagged, first of all, if you just open a position within a minute or two and then close it, and then obviously you will be giving a lot on fees, although fees are cheap. So for example, for about 30,000 position, you could pay like $10 to open and close it, which again is on par with centralized exchanges. So yeah, just be careful, word of caution, as I said, when you're trading. There's one way you can kind of hedge yourself. Obviously, you'll still be paying the fees, but if you have a few accounts, you can, for example, go long on Hyper here, and then on the other account, you can go short. This also will actually help you make some money from the funding, because there's a lot of interest, open interest on Hyperliquid specifically as a token. And if you buy spot, actually that's the preferable choice if you want to do the strategy. Just buy Hype spot, stake it obviously, and then open a short position if you're not sure which direction the market will go, and you'll get money from the funding. But obviously if the market collapses, you'll not make money, and you will not have the premium of the funding, because people will start closing their longs and they will not be paying the shorts. So very, very important, these little details are very important. But if you're a generic user of this, and if you just execute your trading, I think you will do well also for the airdrop. I don't know when it will be, there's no indications of this, but I think it's definitely worth it. One small correction there, market cap currently is around 8 billion. So I just over-exaggerated a bit. Okay, so into the actual trading things and into the ecosystem of Hyperliquid. Let's do some charting. So first you can see all coins here, but if you click here on spot, you will basically see all the spot pairs that you can trade, and these are Hyperliquid pairs. So they are going to be potentially, when they launch their L1, these will be the main coins to watch. And the very first thing you need to do, if the platform doesn't do it for you, is go on the volume here and just click on descending volume. So here, first of all, the first one obviously will be Hype, and then these will fluctuate, and you can see the difference between these, right, of the volume. But I would stick to the first few ones, because the others have like very low volume. And we're gonna start with Hyperliquid itself. So I'm currently in a long that looks something like this. So my entry was here, and I'm looking for retest of the all-time highs with this key level here as my stop loss zone. But pretty much, if we start rolling, I'll probably close it even this trade earlier. But you can see that what happened is pretty much they had a very successful airdrop, had a big run up, and now we're kind of retracing the move, which is actually quite healthy for this token. And it's sitting at around, so it retraced to the 0.5 level. Maybe we'll get a deeper correction. I'm not too excited about this setup, but on the daily it's just firing my triggers, because let's go on the 4-hour chart. So to show you a little bit. So basically we ran these lows and we started shifting structure here on the lower time frames, and it's still keeping the structure, but it's not looking as strong as I would ideally want it to. But also the market's been kind of chilling, so I'll be a little bit more patient with this one specifically. So yeah, Hyperliquid, as I said, spot trade is doing all right, and I think you should have some, but not at any cost. As I said, just be careful and have a good risk management if you don't want to just waste your money on stuff. But if you're in it for the long term, I don't think it's a terrible place for a spot and stake buy, and just don't bother with it. Again, assuming we have a bull market. So the next one we're going to look into is Purr. This is like the main meme coin of the space of Hyperliquid, and you can see obviously it had quite a bit of a run. Once it launched, it had a very good accumulation. I haven't bought any of this prior to here, like yesterday or the day before. I just bought just a little bit to have some exposure, because I heard rumors that spot owners of Purr could also be acting like if you have Purr on spot, could be also a multiplier for potential airdrop. But you could see here very clearly it had a run up, and now it's correcting. Ideally, what usually happens with these moves, you see some kind of consolidation here. So after a push up in a correction, for this to show strength, we need to still have higher highs and higher lows. So somewhere around here, ideally, we will get some kind of consolidation. So I wouldn't be in a rush to buy this. It could go much lower, obviously. But in general, you need to keep in mind that, for now at least, this is looking bullish still. So ideally, if we consolidate a little bit further here, that would be great for this. But definitely on watch on this one. And I think if you just dive into this ecosystem, this is a chart that definitely should be paying attention to. Vapor is another one that's leading on volume here. Honestly, I haven't looked into this coin. I think it's somewhat AI related, and that's why it's doing so well. But again, a little bit tricky spot here. I would say, personally, I wouldn't be buying it right here. But I would need to know a little bit more about this coin and wait for some kind of accumulation in this area. Or maybe we run the lows here around 0.08, reclaim it. This could also be a level to watch, or if there's an overall weakness, this is another place. But honestly, if we get lower to this area, I wouldn't consider buying any of these pretty much shit coins on Hyperliquid, because I think the risk is too high. This is really niche, and just buying it for an airdrop, it doesn't make sense. But if you see a setup playing out, then okay, you can trade them, or you can just trade Solana here. You don't need to go down the rabbit hole. But if you decide to, I think these are the kind of the tokens to keep an eye on. And there's a couple more that I want to show you. So yeah, but if it gets down here, unless it reaccumulates and shows again strength, I wouldn't bother. But ideally, if we're in a true bull market, I would definitely want us to stay above this level. So 0.08, 0.10, 0.1, somewhere around this area. The other one that's quite interesting is called Farm. This is an AI play, and you can see it's fairly new, so just a few weeks. And the market cap, so it's almost 70 million. So it's not cheap, even compared to like the Solana shitters, but it's kind of looking all right here. I mean, it hasn't gone parabolic. It's still in the narrative. It might be a little bit late for the AI slash agents narrative, but I think this one could be decent for an entry. What I'll be looking for here, I would wait for a bit more price history, and then the only way to trade this is probably on the 4-hour, just because, you know, again, it's a newer token, and what ideally we want to see is this order block here act as support. So if you see this token, you know, maybe running the low, where's the drawing to, where was it? Brush. So if you see something like maybe a run to this and then reclaim, retest, that could be a potential entry. But also, if we don't have this and it just starts, you know, creeping up, I would say this here. So this area around here needs to get reclaimed in order for me to be a bit more bullish on this. For now, nothing as an action, but I'm putting it on your watch list. And I think this is one of the ones that could do well, short term at least, and could be a good spot trading vehicle if you're not into all the other, you know, coins that are on leverage. Of course, you can trade with low leverage. You don't need to use like 20 or 30x. You can act as a spot with 1x. But you know, it's up to you. So let's look at another token. This could be this one. So H-Fun. I don't know what this thing does. Slower volume, so it's just about 2 million in volume, but as you can see, already had its run, and I personally wouldn't be touching this, but let's do some charting. So very good pattern here, accumulation and squeezing into this around $27-28 level, had a parabolic rip. And again, you know, like many of those tokens, don't be in a rush to kind of trade those, but honestly, now on second thought, what we could see here is this potentially be the first sign of strength here. So we touched this level, and now as you can see, we broke on the lower time frames. We broke above it. Now we came back to retest the order block. So maybe if we start creeping in upwards, this could be a good sign for continuation on this H-Fund, and just delete this. I'll be, as I said, quite cautious with this one since it's very much lower market cap. But you can see here we have some nice reaction on the 4-hour chart. So the moment this starts reclaiming here, even on the 4-hour, so maybe if this high, you know, gets taken out, or maybe if you want to get Mimi, we can draw this diagonal line here. And then wait for some strength above it, and then enter with your stop somewhere around here, 150 level. What I don't like about this is that, first of all, it already had a big run, but second of all, as you can see, the numbers are quite big. So if somebody, like, think about like the simplest way possible. Some newbie gets into this platform and chooses which token to buy. Do you think they will be buying $170 worth of one token? Or they would prefer something that looks cheap to them, at least in units value. That's another reason I don't really like this one, but as always, do your research and decide if you like it or not. Okay, so that's Hyperliquid. Very excited, as I said, and I suggest you definitely get into it, do some trading there, and hopefully it will more than make up for your losses with the airdrop. See you in the next one.